Look at your hands for a moment, because something flowing silently inside them may carry a story stretching across thousands of years. Perhaps you have donated blood, filled out a medical form, or heard someone casually mention your blood type without another thought. If that label reads AB positive, you belong to a surprisingly small group found across populations, yet scattered throughout nearly every continent today. Most people assume blood types simply help doctors choose safe transfusions during emergencies, surgeries, or life-saving medical treatments every single day. That explanation is absolutely true, but researchers gradually realized blood groups also preserve remarkable clues about humanity's long and complicated journey together. As genetic databases expanded and ancient skeletons revealed hidden DNA, scientists noticed unexpected patterns connecting migrations, populations, and inherited blood characteristics across generations. The mystery was never about special powers or secret identities, but about understanding why certain combinations appeared more frequently after human populations met. Imagine families separated by mountains, deserts, frozen valleys, and oceans, before slowly reconnecting through trade, survival, exploration, and countless ordinary human relationships. Every generation quietly carried genetic pieces forward, often without realizing their children inherited traces of journeys beginning thousands of years before written history. Today, advanced laboratories compare ancient DNA with modern genomes, creating clearer pictures of how communities mixed while civilizations rose, flourished, and eventually disappeared. Some discoveries confirmed long-accepted historical ideas, while others challenged assumptions that had remained largely unquestioned for decades across archaeology and population genetics research. Scientists became especially interested whenever rare genetic patterns repeatedly appeared among people whose ancestors followed very different historical migration routes across continents. Instead of one dramatic explanation, the evidence pointed toward countless ordinary human encounters, slowly shaping extraordinary genetic diversity through time and shared survival. That realization transformed blood types from simple medical classifications into valuable historical markers, helping researchers reconstruct forgotten chapters of human movement and ancestry. Still, many important questions remain unanswered because ancient DNA survives unevenly, leaving researchers carefully rebuilding history from incomplete biological and archaeological evidence available today. What seems ordinary inside your bloodstream may actually reflect thousands of years of migration, adaptation, and connections between distant communities that never recorded their stories. The truth emerging from modern genetics feels less like fiction and far more remarkable because it reveals how deeply every human population has remained connected. So why does AB positive appear where ancient histories unexpectedly intersect? And what convinced scientists this pattern deserved far closer attention than anyone imagined? Before modern laboratories uncovered those answers, the first clues had already been quietly written across ancient landscapes, where humanity's greatest migrations first began. Long before written history, small human communities traveled across changing landscapes, searching for water, food, safety, and better opportunities for future generations. Ice sheets slowly retreated, rivers changed direction, and open grasslands invited families toward regions that had remained unreachable for countless earlier generations. These travelers carried simple tools, shared knowledge around campfires, and unknowingly transported unique genetic variations inherited from countless ancestors before them. At that time, nobody understood blood groups because survival depended on successful hunting, gathering, cooperation, and adapting quickly to unfamiliar environments every season. Generations settled near fertile valleys, where farming gradually replaced constant movement, allowing villages to expand into organized communities with growing populations together. As trade routes connected distant settlements, strangers exchanged grain, pottery, animals, metal tools, languages, traditions, and eventually formed families through peaceful relationships together. Those ordinary human connections quietly mixed inherited genes, creating new combinations that slowly spread across neighboring regions over many centuries of shared living. Archaeologists now uncover ancient graves containing pottery, jewelry, weapons, and preserved bones that reveal valuable clues about migration rather than legendary forgotten civilizations. Ancient DNA extracted from carefully preserved skeletons allows researchers to compare long-vanished communities with millions of living people across different continents today. Evidence consistently shows human history involved repeated movement instead of isolated civilizations, remaining genetically unchanged throughout thousands of years of continuous development together. Some groups traveled west into Europe, others reached Eastern Asia, while many continued southward, adapting successfully to remarkably different climates and challenging landscapes. Every migration introduced opportunities for neighboring populations to meet, cooperate, marry, raise children, and gradually blend inherited genetic characteristics across expanding communities naturally. Historians generally agree these repeated encounters shaped cultural traditions, while genetic researchers believe they also influenced the distribution of blood group variations worldwide. The AB blood type likely became more common wherever populations carrying A and B gene variants gradually mixed across multiple generations together. Rather than appearing suddenly, this combination probably spread slowly through countless ordinary families whose personal stories disappeared long before recorded historical documents existed. Different regions experienced different migration histories, explaining why some populations show higher frequencies of particular blood groups than others, even today worldwide. No ancient kingdom or famous ruler created these patterns because everyday families, not powerful empires, shaped humanity's remarkable genetic diversity through ordinary lives together. Yet one important question remained unanswered because history described human journeys while modern science still needed explaining exactly how those inherited blood patterns survived. Modern science began answering these questions after researchers discovered the ABO blood group depends upon specific genetic instructions inherited from both parents. The ABO gene sits on chromosome 9, carrying instructions that determine whether blood cells display A markers, B markers, both, or neither. People with AB positive inherit one A allele and one B allele, allowing both markers to appear together on every red blood cell. The positive designation comes from the separate Rh factor, another inherited trait completely independent from the ABO blood group system itself. Researchers found these genes passed naturally between generations, following ordinary inheritance patterns rather than mysterious or unexplained biological processes throughout human history. Large genetic studies comparing millions of people revealed blood types exist across every major population, although frequencies differ between different geographic regions. Scientists believe those differences reflect ancient migration, population size, historical isolation, and repeated mixing rather than evidence of separate human species entirely. Ancient DNA recovered from archaeological remains helps researchers compare modern blood group patterns with people who lived thousands of years before recorded history. Evidence suggests early farming communities carried different genetic combinations compared with neighboring hunter-gatherers, reflecting gradual population mixing through generations together. As those communities exchanged knowledge and formed families, inherited blood group variations slowly spread beyond their original regions across expanding human populations. Researchers emphasize blood type alone cannot accurately identify someone's ancestry because every person's genome contains millions of genetic differences beyond ABO markers. Modern ancestry testing therefore studies thousands of DNA markers together instead of relying upon one inherited characteristic to reconstruct family origins accurately today. Scientists also investigated whether AB positive provides unique health advantages or disadvantages under certain medical conditions affecting modern populations worldwide today. Research found possible associations with particular diseases, yet those findings describe statistical trends instead of guaranteed outcomes for individual people everywhere today. Doctors continue reminding patients that lifestyle, environment, nutrition, exercise, and healthcare choices usually influence health far more than blood type alone. This balanced understanding replaced many older myths, encouraging people to appreciate genetics without assuming blood groups determine personality, intelligence, or individual destiny forever. Even after decades of research, scientists continue studying ancient genomes because every newly discovered skeleton adds another valuable piece to humanity's enormous historical puzzle. Perhaps the greatest discovery was not that AB positive proved anyone extraordinary, but that every human bloodstream quietly preserves evidence of countless shared ancestors together. Yet one powerful question still remained, because understanding inherited biology also revealed something unexpectedly meaningful about humanity's shared story across every generation. The greatest scientific discovery was surprisingly simple, because AB positive tells a story about shared ancestry rather than extraordinary human differences alone. Every person carrying this blood type inherited ordinary genetic instructions passed naturally through countless generations of parents, grandparents, and distant ancestors together. Those ancestors lived in different places, spoke different languages, and followed different traditions before history gradually brought their families together through migration. Science now shows humanity has always been connected through movement, cooperation, adaptation, and relationships instead of remaining isolated behind permanent geographical boundaries forever. The blood flowing through your veins carries evidence of that continuous human journey, although it cannot reveal every chapter by itself alone. Researchers continue recovering ancient DNA from caves, burial sites, and forgotten settlements, adding remarkable details to humanity's unfinished historical record every year. Each new discovery strengthens existing evidence while sometimes correcting earlier assumptions, reminding scientists that knowledge grows through careful research rather than certainty alone. That careful approach explains why responsible researchers avoid dramatic claims unsupported by genetics, archaeology, anthropology, or well-tested scientific evidence available today. Instead, they celebrate something equally remarkable, the realization that modern humans share far more similarities than differences across every continent on Earth. AB positive therefore represents another beautiful variation within humanity, not proof of hidden civilizations, supernatural origins, or mysterious biological abilities beyond scientific understanding. The real wonder comes from recognizing how ordinary families quietly shaped extraordinary genetic diversity through countless everyday choices repeated across thousands of years. Every friendship, marriage, migration, and shared community slowly influenced the genetic landscape, inherited by millions of people living around the world today. Looking backward through science helps us better understand ourselves without separating people into imagined categories unsupported by reliable biological evidence or history. That perspective encourages curiosity instead of fear, replacing myths with carefully gathered evidence and replacing speculation with genuine scientific discovery built through collaboration. Perhaps the most meaningful truth is that every person's ancestry contains unexpected connections, reaching far beyond modern borders and national identities today. Your blood type may explain important medical information, yet your complete genetic story remains far richer than one inherited characteristic could ever describe. As research continues, future discoveries will likely reveal even deeper connections, linking ancient populations with families living across our modern world together. Until then, the strongest evidence reminds us every drop of human blood carries history, survival, resilience, and an unforgettable story still being written together. If this journey changed how you see your own history, subscribe for more evidence-based documentaries exploring humanity's remarkable past and future together.